Think of a situation where a girl is walking home from a party. Well, all of a sudden, somebody jumps out from, the bushes or the shadows, grabs her, takes her back, and rapes her. Now, when this happens, she has two options. She can either call the police, report it, or just live with this traumatic experience. Well, if she's on a college campus, she has a third option, and that is to take it up with the administration. Because on college campuses, they're allowed to handle rape within their own organization. Well, that causes a major problem because of the difference in consequences. With the cops, you have a potential for jail time or stuff like that. Or when you go to the college campus, the worst thing that can happen to you is being expelled. Well, that's where the problem is, because rape is rape, so there shouldn't be different consequences for it. And today I'm going to talk to you about why that should be changed. There's a problem, a cause, and a solution. I'm going to go step by step through each of them. First, I'm going to talk about the problem. Now, why would anyone that gets raped not report it to the cops? Well, rape can be hard to prove, and a lot of people don't want to go through the whole struggle of a trial and everything just to see their attacker be free. Now on campus, when it happens on campus, there's a process that happens. Once they report it, there's supposed to be an investigation. And then there's a panel of administrators that take care of it, and they investigate it and all that stuff. Well, the problem is these panels were never trained to deal with sexual assaults. They're trained in, handling academic dishonesty and like minor fights through all this stuff. Where, rape is a lot more serious, so they don't have the professionalism and stuff like that. And a lot of times the investigation that they're supposed to do, they just brush it aside. We'll get to that, why they do that a little bit later. Now, as far as there is a trial, what it is the attacker and the victim have to come into this room and basically plead their story to each other. And whenever, someone is raped, the last thing they want to do is see their attacker again, especially sit in a room with them and, have to relive that whole experience. And these are usually very informal, like they're college professors, coaches, stuff like that are on these panels. And there's an article I read, it was Michael Goldberg's Rape Crisis, where it talks about this girl was raped on campus, she reported it to the campus, and then, they went through the process and everything, and then when she gets into her actual trial, the whole panel is joking and laughing with her attacker because they knew him, and they, didn't take it seriously, so she figured right away there was no chance of her winning her case. Now there's there's a few problems that I'm going to go through in the causes of why they happen. Why don't they investigate? Well, a college is like a business. They have to make money, and by doing that, they have to get new incoming freshmen and new students to join their college. Well, no one's going to want to come to a college that has a very high percentage of rapes. So they tend to, brush it aside. They don't publicize rapes. They don't do any of the stuff that, like, when it happens, out when it goes to the cops, you see it on the news. I have heard, personally, a few different rapes that have happened on campus, but I have never once seen them on our public news or even in our Ball State newspapers. Another problem is that they won't train the panel of admins. They don't want to spend the money to get these people to where they're professionals and, experts in the area of rape. And these people, since they're not professionals, they're open to being biased. They're, like I said earlier, they're teachers, they're coaches. Teachers have been known to be biased sometimes. They like some students better than others. This can cause for a blurred, vision of what actually happened. And finally, there's misconceptions on rape. Some people look at rape as, a very serious thing. Other people think of it as boys will be boys, girls will be girls, or as in like a lot of, at college, it's a lot of drinking and then the rape. Well, they look at it as, well, both parties were drunk, so it's no big deal. That needs to change, and there's a simple solution for that. Well, it might not be so simple, but there's definitely a solution. The solution is that no matter if it happens on a college campus or, out in the real world, it should be handled by the police. Police are trained to be professionals. They're trained to investigate and gather as much information and evidence as possible. They're an unbiased, they don't look at the people and who they were. They just look at what happened. And that goes the same for a trial. A judge will sit there and he will look at both sides of the story. He will examine it. He will go through all the evidence to make the best prediction of what has happened to be true. And he will do everything in his power because that's his job, unlike the college professor or, a coach or something like that. And also, when you deal with the cops, there's a difference in the punishments. Through a college campus, going through the administration, the most you can get is just expelled from the college. So that means you can rape someone, yet still be out walking on the streets. And, people who have been raped, they say that the biggest fear is that happening again. And they have that fear if their attacker is out, with no punishment, walking on the streets. Yeah, he might not go to the same school as her, but he can still, that can't stop him from, coming in contact with her. So, going through the police, it's going to give the victim more ease. They have a sense of comfort knowing that their attacker is in jail, that they won't have to deal with him for a certain amount of time. In conclusion, I think those points prove why the system needs to be changed. Colleges, the panel, it's somewhat of a joke. They don't do their job like they should. Well, rape isn't a joke. It needs consequences. People need to be punished when they do it. And so that's why I believe that you should hand all rape cases over to the police. It'll be a very better system, and you'll see a lot more justice happening. Thank you for listening.